Welcome everybody to a battle between Ondjage and Bobman, which was fought in the round of 32 of the Warhammer World Championship. It looks like the first match in this best of 5 will be Ondjage leading the Greenskins against Bobman's Empire. So for those not too familiar with the players, Ondjage is a player who throughout Warhammer 1 was the best player by far for a pretty long time. Hasn't been as active in Warhammer 2. He had some strong showings here and there, but I think real life issues just kept him from playing the game as much as he otherwise might have wanted to. And Bobman, I believe, is an Asian player who most notably took out Fistek in the group stage preceding this playoff stage of the World Championship. So both players going for interesting builds. For once it's not Grom the Punch, it's just Azak with the Fate of Buna. Ondjage, of course, playing a slightly different meta, having recently come back to the game and probably just, playing his own thing instead of following along with what everyone else is doing, which honestly could be a strength. Can also sometimes be a weakness if you get caught off guard by something you maybe just haven't considered, but for the most part it should be a strength, I think, to just be a little bit less predictable. For Bobman, we have the Warrior Priest, Volkmar on his Chariot, Bright Wizard. Looks like pretty standard stuff. The only thing I would say is not so standard is that this Empire army is actually really aggressive and melee focused. And of course here on Languil, Ondjage has a strong position with his Hammer of Gork. There's some skirmishers in front. Kinda hard for Empire to outskirmish the Greenskin skirmish cav unless you use Outriders, which outrange them. But in that case, the Hammer of Gork can deal with your Outriders. So Ondjage being a bit sneaky here, setting up an ambush from the forest, which Bobman must have seen, but hasn't necessarily responded to yet. He's probably in a bit of unfamiliar water here, which is attacking into a defensive Greenskin army, which is of course forced by this Hammer of Gork, which is putting a lot of pressure on the cavalry. So the first Buna goes down, and Azak plays it quite aggressively. It looks like Ondjage really wants to smash this flank. And Bobman is going to allocate more resources to countering that. And of course Azak, not a tanky character, good damage dealer, but not tanky by any means. So will be taking a lot of damage here. He still has support, but he wants to get out as quickly as possible, pretty much. Volkmar was kind of flattening him there, and so were these Pistoliers. Now in terms of the main lines, this is something Empire players like to do, using that Soul Bombardment, or Soul Fire, which is also going down over here, to win infantry engagements, which, standard Empire armies tend to have a problem winning. And yeah, here a Burning Head comes through as well, so 3 AoE abilities popped in the span of just a couple of seconds, just decimating the Greenskin lines. And Azak, being relatively low on hit points already, might have some trouble supporting his troops, but his troops seem to be doing fine. The Greenskins, of course, the stronger melee units in general. And yeah, they still have that cav support fighting from the back. So usually the question is, can you kill Volkmar in the end? Do your troops get low enough to be killed by him or not before the Empire runs out of other troops? And right now it's looking like the Empire forces are trading relatively well. Bobman getting rid of the Stone Trolls, which is pretty massive, because those things could really be used to put the beating on Volkmar the Grim. And yeah, the Bright Wizard is just cackling in the back here, just waiting to cast another Burning Head. Still plenty of Greenskins to potentially put that on. With Volkmar control here, going into the Goblins before they're able to flank. Yeah, there's still a lot of yellow, or should I say green, on the field. And you can really see these guys starting to push in. Ondjage, I think, making the right choice by not trying to focus Volkmar. He fights him when he needs to, but he doesn't try to snipe him as some people do. There is no such thing as sniping Volkmar. Most likely what's going to happen is you will fail to kill him and just spend a lot of time on it. So, bit of a risky dive by Azak. Takes a hit from Volkmar in the turn, but manages to get away before the Pistoliers arrive, and these Pistoliers take a beating from the old boy, so good reactions there. Got a Burning Head, of course, great in conjunction with Volkmar. Units blob up around him and become a very nice target for that. So leadership, as like the Slaughter can be brought with 2 leadership items, but he's already bringing that Fate of Buna, so it's not a good idea at that point to make him more expensive, I suppose. So he doesn't have more leadership he could give. And Volkmar, yeah, he is just such a menace to the infantry. The trolls might regenerate and come deal with him. Azag tried to go for a dive there, but backs off. That's really cool. Starts the charge, then backs off as he sees Grand Hammer of Sigmar and the Grand Shield of Fate being cast. And there comes a banishment. Again, this army has so many ways of getting rid of the greenskin infantry. No less than 4 effects that can clear them. That's actually pretty smart. You see Volkmar is slowly getting taken down though, but he heals 8 hit points per second and there's nothing damaging him really right now. So Ondjage, what he's trying to do is to keep focusing on other units. This time the Pistoliers actually take a Fate of Buna. I have to say that's one of the first times I've ever seen that be casted. But of course there weren't really better targets left at this point. The Warrior Priest and Volkmar still standing strong. Greenskins from Ondjage trying to just clear off what Empire forces they can as these spears try to rally. And this is of course buying time for Volkmar to regen. Again, Azag with a risky dive misses and unfortunately gets hit by both the Warrior Priest and Volkmar, and I think if Azag goes down here he just won't have the leadership. Keep up. Kind of funny how the Hammer of Gork is actually being used to kite here. Yeah, having to sacrifice, or well, he didn't sacrifice him, but losing Azag to try and save it was not very good. Sometimes it's really wonky with these charging animations and how fast you're able to get out again. This was Warhammer 1, he could probably just cycle charge over and over. It was quite easier. Quite a bit more easy back then. Yeah, Volkmar, he actually has pretty long cooldowns on his abilities, but if you see how many soul fires he's already used this battle, it feels like he actually doesn't have such long cooldowns on them anyway. Granted, the battle has been going for quite a while. And yeah, Ondjage is going to pull out of that one. Not a bad setup. Just, yeah, the initial engagement with Azag kind of put him on the back foot. He lost a lot of hit points on him. And I think he needed Azag to kill Volkmar in the end. Of course, Volkmar coupled with the Warrior Priest, very difficult to deal with, especially once the trolls are gone. Anything you send in to fight him just gets destroyed. And Azag by himself, of course, can't fight those guys either. So well done to Bobman, he will be going 1-0 up in this series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video to see how this series progresses.